Hey guys, I'm Follygon, and in today's video we're going to look at 5 ways to improve your sculpt that you can do right now. If you like the 3D model that you see in this video, you can download it for free by clicking the link in the description below, or by clicking the eye icon in the top right hand corner of this video. Well, first up is number 1, the simplification of forms. The simplification of forms is something that you've probably heard me say many times if you've watched my videos before. Primary forms are something that I talk about a lot, and actually in my last video I went a little bit more in depth on this topic. So what do I mean when I say simplification of forms? What I'm talking about here is your primary or lowest subdivision level of form. So think the most basic primitive shape that you can think of for a character or environment or whatever you're working on, as well as think of your silhouette and your curvature and flow of all your forms working together. It helps if you throw a flat black material on your mesh to check out the silhouette and see if everything is still making sense from that most basic kind of flat view. Now next up here with number 2, splitting it up into parts, this kind of ties into number 1, primary forms. So you have your primary forms on one hand, but now you have to be able to work with those, and how I recommend you do that is by splitting your mesh up into multiple parts. So you might think splitting a human character up into its head, arms, legs, and body, but it might also be a good idea to split your mesh even further. And what I mean when I say that is that think of your hand, for instance. It might be smart or a good idea, at least in my experience, to take your hand, fat pad of your thumb, fingers, and have those all exist as separate meshes. If you've never worked like this before, it's something that increases the control over your mesh, I think, a great deal. And I think if you give it a shot, try it out, I think you'll come to the same conclusion that I did. And it's something that I use in the beginning stages of a sculpt for pretty much everything. Number 3, base your sculpt in reality. Now I'm sure that you've heard the old adage for drawing that you need to observe as much as you are drawing, if not more so than you are drawing. But what I would like to suggest is the same kind of idea for sculpting and looking at real life for your main reference.
Oh, but Follygon, I want to sculpt aliens, and aliens don't actually exist in reality.
Well, for it to look like something that could actually exist, it needs to be grounded in anatomical truth. It needs to make sense from a physiological standpoint. Now, we all know gerblins don't actually exist, but when we watch The Lord of the Rings or any other film with a fantasy theme or universe, we can believe that gerblins and orcs and trolls and all that they're real, that they're living, breathing organisms because they have some anatomical truth to them, but at the same time, those rules have been tweaked and changed in such a way to create something new. So once you learn and observe some anatomy yourself, you can take those rules that you learn and apply them, tweak them, and change them to fit your needs for what you're working on. Now number 4 is something that I really enjoy doing, and I do it quite often to kind of critique my own work. It's taking a screenshot and actually critiquing your own work, but with a little bit of a process in there as well. So I like using Photoshop personally, but you can also use Paint or any other free application that you might have for photo editing. All you need to do is at any point press Shift S to duplicate your model, drop it to the canvas, and you can kind of paste it around a bunch of times, and then from there you can export that image or take a quick screenshot, whatever you need to do, throw it in Photoshop for example, flip your canvas, save that file, and now at this point you need to walk away and take a little break. Which might sound a little odd, but you're gonna need a little bit of a break, whether that's a few minutes or a few days, whatever it is for you, where you can kind of clear your head, come back, look at your model, your sculpt, whatever you're working on, and look at it with fresh eyes. Now when you come back, open up your file that you have and do a quick little paint over. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be as simple as drawing some arrows to move part of your mesh a certain way, or maybe indicating or taking notes all over your image, which is what I like to do. Now after you're done with that, go ahead and save your image, Keep it close, keep it handy. If you have a second monitor like I do, throw up your image up over there and use it as a reference as you move forward, going through step by step, making the changes that you noted down. Now you can do this as many times as you want during your process. It's a good way to get critique for yourself without trying to find some really good critique or a mentor or anyone like that online. You kind of know what you're supposed to do, but sometimes you get kind of lost in your own kind of artwork. So it's a good idea to step back, flip things around, and take a second look at it. Now, number 5 is make what you want. Create what you desire to create. That might sound a little obvious and simple to some of you, but I think it would surprise you if you knew how many people do not create what they want. In my opinion, one of the best ways to learn is through desire. The person who has a desire to actually do something is going to do it more and practice it more and therefore improve. And as you do so, you're going to acquire new desires. Whether that's for anatomy or for working with perspective if you're drawing, whatever that is for you, you're going to come up with new desires, new things that you want to work on, improve, and that's when you should focus on those things. Not when someone else gives you a specific order of things that you need to do, like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you're a character artist, then you're a digital sculptor. Congratulations, you made it. But when you want to, that's the awesome thing about learning and improving in art. So if you're at a place right now where you want to sculpt a bunch of monsters, then go ahead and sculpt a bunch of monsters. Maybe they're not super great, and that's totally okay, because guess what? You're doing what you want, and you are improving, you are practicing, and you are learning. Later down the road, hopefully you reach a point where you want to learn anatomy, for example. So you want to practice that, you start studying, you take those tools and the things that you have learned, and you apply them to, hey, I want to sculpt some more monsters. So there you go. You feed all that in together. And later down the road, maybe you want to learn how to add color to your sculpts, or texture, or whatever that is.
Oh, but Follygon, I have a job where I can only sculpt what my art director tells me to.
If you have a job where someone tells you exactly what to make, well, in my opinion, that's pretty awesome, because you are definitely going to improve from that work that you're doing. And hopefully you have these people around you that are also pushing you and helping you to improve. But the truth is that if you don't work on what you want to outside of that job, outside of that instance, I think that you're going to stagnate, because I have personally been there myself and I've seen other people fall into this trap as well. If you want to keep that desire alive within you, that desire to create, then I think you need to work on something that you want to, whether that's every night a week or maybe that's once a week. Whatever that is for you, you need to find that thing that you can kind of keep that love for your craft alive with. So those are the 5 things that I think that you can do right now to improve your sculpt. Simplify your forms, split it up into parts, keep it based in reality, critique your own work through screenshots and paint over, and make what you want. And with that, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, maybe got a little inspired, feeling good about working on your next project, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.